Well, hello there. How you doing? It's only gone and been the midweek hump, ain't it? The midweek hump, everyone loves the midweek hump. And look, you're looking absolutely amazing, and you always do, every day, but there's just that little twinkle in your eye on the midweek hump, and I know why. I know what it is. But anyway, so we get straight into the meat and potatoes, as, look, yesterday, the last video that I uploaded, and if you didn't see it, after this video, go and check it out. We talk about Nancy Disgrace and Howard Blumber, and they're coming together as a dream team. Dream team. Anyway, they've been joined. They've made it a threesome. Oh, a threesome. Megyn Kelly, Nancy Grace, and Howard Blumber. Like a little gangster. He must be so proud of himself bringing all these people together. Having all these people, Megyn Kelly with close to 2 million subscribers, who is now offering him further credibility, and not in like his story writing, because let's face it, if his entire book is anything like that excerpt that I read the other day, then I'm pretty sure that some of the pets around us could write better than that. But anyway, Megyn Kelly. What I witnessed in that interview, if you like, with Megyn Kelly was somebody getting their credibility. Getting it. Imagine credibility being a football, or American football in the US, them funny shaped balls, and booting it off a cliff. That was her credibility going. Because, yet again, like Nancy Disgrace, she was offering this up as fact. As fact. This is fact. What Howard Blum is writing, the Blumber, the Blumski, the Blummeister General, his book is fact. He has inside knowledge, and this seems like a bit of a repetition, and I suppose it is, because I'm trying to fight against the current here. Do you know what I mean? When I try to do what I say I'm going to do, which is kind of balance the scales, it reminds me of that line from Blade. Some motherfuckers are always trying to ice skate uphill. Because that's what this is. For creators like me who just want to kind of balance it. And it ain't, I love Brian, or, you know, I'm a Brian fan, because in reality, if I wanted money, if this was about money, clicks and views, I'd just go heavy in the paint with Brian Coburg as a person who did it. And I could pick apart every single little detail and exacerbate it to make him look guilty. Of course I could. Anybody could. I'm a better storyteller than what Howard Blumber is. I don't have a Pulitzer or anything like that, but I'm fucking good. Who else could draw out what we have in the Idaho 4 case into best part of 1,000 videos? But I don't do it for any other reason than to, again, balance the scales. Do I care about money? Yeah, of course I care about money. If this channel wasn't monetized, there would have to be some other carrot, if you like, for me to do this. You know, my time away from my family and my children is precious time. But what I don't like and what I don't understand is when people who can earn money alternatively, like Megyn Kelly, for instance, she doesn't need the overhyped Howard Blumber situation to make money. She has made a conscious decision to utilize that to do so, it would seem. And I'll prove it to you, look. So we look at Megyn Kelly's page here, look. So videos. You've got, why did roommate not call the police? So this is again connected to the Howard Blumber story. You've got this situation here, which is the actual interview itself, this video. Then you've got Brian Coburg's suspected target, which is again based on Howard Blum's story. So she has got this situation that Howard Blumber has come out, and in her professional capacity, she has made the conscious decision to give it credibility. thus losing her own credibility. When in reality, when you listen to Howard Blumber, nothing he is saying seems to fall into anything other than what mainstream media has pushed out previously that he himself has criticised. And I can't forget, I can't let it go that Howard Blumber had done multiple interviews. And this is the important part. Because Howard Blumber apparently had gone to Moscow, Idaho in the early days of this case, before the gag order had come into effect, and spoken to people. And it was after that period of time, and as we were much further down the track, that Howard Blumber was still criticising law enforcement, criticising the evidence against Bryan Kohberger, making statements regarding how difficult it would be for law enforcement to convict Bryan because the case was weak. And I said this yesterday. How can someone have those thoughts then after this time when you would expect that he's already spoken to everybody, and then go through this almost like a transition to a book? And, well, it's easy. It's easy because Howard Blumber is in this for money. He can't even get victims' names right. Even in this interview, he talks about 4 females who were murdered and then has to correct himself. So even the real simple and glaringly obvious things, such as victims' names and the numbers of them, the sex of them, he can't even get these details right. But he's very, very clever as well at avoiding direct questions, and he will try and redirect and not really give a straight answer on certain things, like who he's been speaking to. But he will make it sound like he has spoken to real pertinent people. Now, I must admit, I listen to what he has to say, and again, like I said yesterday, it makes me wonder whether Bryan Kohberger was indeed pointed at by someone either within the family, but not Dad, or someone that had spoken to the family and was on the peripheral of that family. But this is 100% further, and if you think about it, I'm saying step back a moment, let's zoom out and think to ourselves, what should have happened in the Idaho 4 case? There should have been an investigation. That investigation should have involved getting all of the evidence, investigating that evidence, and that evidence leading them to a suspect. That suspect should have been arrested, should have been brought in for questioning. There should have been DNA taken from that individual, and then charges brought if that was deemed necessary at the time. But that's not what happened here. That's not what happened. What happened is someone pointed the finger at this person. Now, whether that was someone within Bryan Kohberger's family, like a sister, I've been speaking to people in the community, in our little community here, and I've said this to them. I've felt this for a long time, that I believe that Bryan Kohberger's family, potentially a sister, did what she considered the father couldn't do, and that was admit to himself that his son had done the crime. So they did it for him. And the rest is history. And then what we saw is they've got information about this person, and they build a case around what they know. And the nail in Bryan Kohberger's coffin was the fact that he is a loner. He's someone who doesn't interact with people. He's across the other side of the country on his own, on his educational journey, and he's got nobody who can vouch for him to say, no, he wasn't there, he was here. But I'm going to ask you a question, right? And I get it that there's going to be people who look at these things and think, this is the guy who did it. What if he isn't? What if he's not the person? And because of a real poor investigation, What if it was just because someone pointed the finger and there was enough circumstantial things that weren't even gathered by law enforcement, but were gathered by family who were suspicious, and he's now found himself in this position? That is how easy it can be. And we talk about this knife sheath, this fucking knife sheath. You know, people are out in the communities, they're out in these videos, and they're talking about, well, he was definitely there, his DNA was on this knife sheath. How do you genuinely know that that's the case? How do we genuinely know? Are you truly saying that you do not believe that law enforcement have ever planted evidence? Never. They think this person did it. Imagine this. They think that they have got the person who did this crime. 100%. And the family even think that he did it. And there's the car. He's got a white Hyundai Elantra. He's got no alibi. He's got these... Maybe he was having difficulties at the university. But I'm going to come to that in a second. But ultimately, there are a few things that just... This is the guy. This has got to be the guy. But we need something. We need something. And then you get the DNA situation. Now, maybe the sheath existed, but the DNA never existed. But they made it exist because they believed that they had the right person. And there lieth the problem with all of what subsequently happened with the DNA. But there are red flags in that. The volume of the sample. Was there enough of a sample to do the test they claim they did? Was it because there was such a small amount that there was the ability to interpret it a different way? Fill in the blanks. Because we all know that we share, humans share a proportion of DNA. We all do. There's only certain specific markers within that chain that make us unique. Did they fill in the gaps? And is that why it was done so damn quick? Way quicker than any other case. Rachel Moran, for instance, that took months to do. Brian Kohberger's literally days, less than a week, was it? Or bang on a week? Very, very quickly. And like I say, Brian Kohberger, maybe he was having difficulties at college. We're yet to hear that that's fact. We don't know that that's fact. What we do know, and I think we can be quite confident, is he hadn't been fired. He hadn't been fired. And if there's elements to this that are true, like Howard turns around and says that he spoke to his dad and said, look, it's all right. I can go back. I can go down the disciplinary and I can put my case across and I know that I'm going to be good. Maybe he had that confidence. Maybe he had that confidence because he didn't think he'd done anything wrong and he could fight it. What? But then on the back burner, he's thinking, fuck it, I'm going to go and kill 4 people just in case I don't. That makes no sense. It still makes sense that Brian Kohberger has always been focused on his education. That has been the primary thing that Brian Kohberger cared about. And maybe he cared about other people's education. He wanted them to do better. And he felt that they weren't. So he was, like they've said previously, a harsh grader. Doesn't seem like that was biased towards females. He was like it across the board. But the important point there is we don't know the facts of that. But yeah, Megyn Kelly, credibility, football, bang, gone. See you later. Let me know down below what you think, and I'll catch you all in the next one.